Alright, so when we're talking about drawers, the most important thing to think about with your drawers before you start making them is really measurements, the space you're working with, and the hardware you're working with, okay? So these are the drawer slides that I have. I have some of them sitting around. This is an older style, typical rollerball style drawer slide. They're pretty cheap, really common, okay? This is a soft close drawer style piece of hardware. This comes out too. This is more and more common nowadays. A little more expensive, but definitely more heavy duty, more durable. Okay, this is what I'm going to be using for our drawer slides because I have them. I have 2 sets. Okay, so we need to know not only just our dimension of our opening, our rough opening here that we have to fill. Okay, but we need to know what this thickness of this drawer slide is. And these are pretty standard. This thickness right here is a 1/2 inch. Okay, same thing with this one too. You put this together, it's about a 1/2 inch, okay? That's a pretty standard one there. So in each side you have a 1/2 inch, means your drawer is going to be 1 inch smaller on a side. But you also have to be careful too. We have this face frame construction here. So we have a face frame that goes around the box, okay? And if I was just to take my drawer slide, just put it in there, okay? You can see this, it wouldn't operate. It's blocked by the face frame, okay? All right? What I need to do is I need to kind of bring this drawer slide out, right to about here, right past the face frame, so that now it can operate and slide. Okay, if it's back here, no good. So just if I just attach that, I'd be in trouble. Okay, so what we have to do to fix that, it's pretty simple. Take a piece of plywood, all right, I'm gonna put it in there, and then it smooths this out, and now I can just put my drawer slide right here, and that's what you're gonna see me do. So we're just gonna have to bump this out, the scrap that we're using now, and then once I can install these on either side, I'm going to install them on both sides, I'm going to take my measurement again, and that will give me my exact measurement of how wide my drawer needs to be. Because the one thing with drawers, I think I said before, it's really all about the measuring, for them to work properly, for them to go in. I mean, you really don't want to be more than a 1/16 inch off. 1/8 inch off, you might be pushing it. You really want to be exact on your measurements. So the more you can do to really measure and get exactly the size of the drawer you need, with all your hardware, have it all ready to go, you're going to have a much easier time getting your drawers installed. Alright, so here I go. I'm going to... Alright, so I'm going to put my drawer slides in here. Alright, I want to make sure I have a good spacing here on both sides, top and bottom here, left and right, so that they're even when I put them in. So what I did is I just took some scraps of wood, making a spacer or a shim in here. Alright, push that tight up against there. Now I have a set distance here. When I do this other side, I'll do the exact same thing, and they'll be in the exact same place. Alright, so the drawer hardware, drawer slides installed, top and bottom. I can get my accurate measurement for how big my drawer is. Now we can get started making the drawers, and they'll be the right size. Okay, I've made the mistake many times, not being so careful, made drawers, they were the wrong size. It's not fun. Better to put this extra time in, make sure your measurements are good before you start making your drawers. Alright, so I got the big piece here. This is a pretty good clean edge. Alright, you need one good edge to start with. Hit it with some sandpaper. Got a little bit of glue on it. And finish. Alright, so I want to start cutting my drawer pieces out of the plywood. We already ripped them to 5 1/4, I believe. So we have our width set. Just got to start cutting the lengths. I made sure I have one good square edge here. I checked it with my square. I got my good square edge. Set up my stop block here. I'm going to do 14 3/4 for how deep the drawer is. So I need 4 pieces like this. Now I'm going to cut them. Okay, so I made this stick the exact width of the drawer that I need for the bottom, okay? Call this a story stick, all right? This is just the exact width I need to set up. So I can use it to set up my saw blade here, exactly where I need it to go. And put my stop block on, right where I need it. Put my stop block in place, recheck where I am. Alright, so I made my story stick, or my measurement for my bottom drawer. This piece is the exact width of the drawer that I need to fit between the hardware. Okay? This is how I'm going to construct my drawer. These two pieces on the side here. So if I was just to cut this piece using this stick and making that the exact length, my drawer is going to be too wide. I have to account for these two side pieces here. Okay, so I have to adjust this measurement. But what I want is my finished drawer to be this exact size here. So what I need to do is take two pieces here, measure how wide two pieces are together. It's just under 1.5 inches, like 1 7/16 inches on the heavy side. Okay, so I have to take that off of this measurement here. All right, I'm going to measure that out. All right, so we got the drawers cut up. We got our four sides set up here. We got two sets of drawers that we're going to make, okay? I've got some pieces of plywood here, scraps that I had left over lying around. It's nice. They're a little thicker than 1/4 inch. It should work well. All right, just going to do a dado in all the drawer pieces. I already tested this out, set it up. We got it on the router table right here. We're all set up. We got that router bit all set up to do this groove. So we're going to do some routing. Alright, so I need to figure out the bottom panel for the bottom of the drawer. And I'm going to measure it. All I really have to do is measure the width of the opening. And here it's just the same dimension of this piece. It's 17 3/4. Okay, and I got to make sure this is lined up. Measure this opening. Just 13 1/4. Okay, that's my dimensions there. Then I need to take a dimension. How deep is my dado? Okay, and I need to add that to both sides. Then I take a little bit off, so it's not super tight. There's a little room for play in there, so I usually take about 1/8 inch off. Okay, so it's a little bit of math, a little bit of measuring, but not too bad. But that's how I figure out this. All right, bottom panel's cut out. This is my drawer. I got all my pieces cut out. Do the joinery to fasten it, put it together. I'm going to do pocket holes. All right, use my pocket hole jig. Normally, I don't make drawers out of 3/4 inch plywood, which is what we're doing here. But this was a build where we're trying to use all the scraps, all the pieces from this old cabinet. It works real good for a shop cabinet. Normally, I'll use some kind of solid wood, like this is a poplar drawer that I did before, and I'll use dominoes, and it's about 5/8 thick. It's usually a standard kind of a drawer size, but this works fine for a DIY type application here. And like I said, I'm just trying to use up all the materials that I got from this original build. So it should be nice and sturdy. Not my typical drawer, but this is a good DIY version of making a drawer. All right. Okay, so when making the drawer, I might have skipped over this and didn't mention this, but something kind of important. So this is how our drawer is going to sit, and we're going to pull. It's going to be pulled somehow this way. This is the front of the drawer, okay? And I've got my pocket holes set so these screws go in. They're going to go this way. That was done very deliberately. That was done on purpose, and if you just think about it, I'm going to be pulling this piece of wood, always using that force on that piece of wood. These screws are going to go in with the glue this way. They're going to hold better. Okay, as opposed to if we just flip the drawer, if we said, okay, this is the front of the drawer, and I'm always pulling this way, okay, our screw is going into the wood like that, okay? That repeated force over years or whatever that you use the drawer, the screw is just going to pull right out. I've made this mistake earlier on. I haven't had a failure, but it makes a lot of sense. If you just set up your drawer and think about it ahead of time, that you put your pocket holes going in this way, the screws are going to hold much better when you're pulling, and you get this force coming in and out here, okay? And when you put your drawer face on, these get all covered up, okay? So, you know, something to pay attention to when you're choosing where to put the pocket holes. If you're going to make a drawer with a set of pocket holes, try to do it this way and not the other way.
All right, so I'm set up to start putting the drawers together, gluing and screwing them together. Got all my pieces, got my glue, clamps, wet rag. All right, one thing you want to make sure of, I had the black poly on this before, so take some sandpaper, sand this down, expose some raw wood so the glue holds better. This one I didn't have to do anything to. These ends are cut, so they're good. And anywhere I had some black, I just tried to take most of it off and get a better bond with the glue. All right, so we'll get these put together now.
I want to install my drawers now. Okay, I got 2 drawer slots, 2 drawers. I'm going to do 2 slightly different methods here. These are my drawers. All right. First method is just going to be straight measuring. Okay. So when I'm talking about straight measuring here is I got my drawer slide hardware mounted in the drawer. If I take a measurement right up to that center point, see it's just about 1.5 inches. Right up to that center point of the hardware right there. That center point, that's where all the screws are. 1.5 inches. I'm the same on the other side. Okay, so I want about a 1/4 inch clearance or a 1/4 inch gap at the bottom here. So if I measure on my side of my drawer up from the bottom, 1.25 inches, okay, that should give me my 1/4 inch at the bottom space, and that should get me right to the center here. Okay, so that's just strictly a measuring, and this will work if your slides are nice and even and level, and there's no issues, no off square issues or anything like that. The measurement is that will work just by measuring. Okay, so we're going to do that first drawer using that method. All right, for the second drawer, I got a second method for installing them. It involves these store-bought jigs, I guess you could call them fixtures. They get attached to the face frame. One other thing I failed to mention, when you're doing that, you might not be able to get to all the screw holes and use these jigs. So take the drawer slide out, take the hardware out, add in a couple extra screws. Make sure you got a nice strong drawer setup. All right, so we got 2 drawers, got saw blades. Wasn't sure what to do here. I decided I'm going to do 2 drawers. All right, here, just split the space in half, do 2 small drawers. I'm going to do a style I haven't really done before. No hardware, no slides, you know, no roller slides or anything like that. We're just going to do dados and have it slide in. So we're going to do 2 drawers there. I got to figure out what I'm going to do for drawer faces here. Okay, I did this inset style. I set it up. This is what we have left of the build after I took it apart. We've got the front drawer face, one large drawer face, and the drawer box. This is MDF, 1/2 inch, double pocket holes, and it's a little warped, but I'm going to try to salvage it. Big mistake I made, I put construction adhesive. For some reason, I have no idea why I did this. It's a long time ago. I did construction adhesive and screws to put this drawer face on. So I've got a mess here. This is really a mess. It's hard polyurethane style glue, construction glue. I don't know what the only solution I came up with is I'm just gonna run this through the table saw and try to salvage these frame pieces because they're still good. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use this because it's got just so much of this glue and it got ripped off when I took it apart. But at least I could save this and use most of it for the drawer faces over there. And then most of this MDF, I'm going to take it apart, cut down some strips, and make the 2 smaller drawers out of MDF that's left over. We'll see what we can get done. So now I got to start breaking this stuff down, seeing what I can use. Alright, so this is what I came up with after I cut apart face front, the drawer front from the old cabinet. I got these pieces. I already started cutting it up, trying to figure out how I'm going to do my 2 face fronts for here. Okay, we're going to do inset, which means it's going to go inside the opening. It's not going to sit on the outside of the face frame. No overlay. It's going to be inset. Alright, and I got to get 2 of these. Started playing around, cutting, getting my dimensions. Couldn't get it to work unless I did this on the one side. You normally don't do this. Alright, it's not really what you want to do, but for the purposes of my shop cabinet, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to cut that on this side. I got to cut a piece here and here. I got some smaller pieces. Alright, and we're going to get a panel in the middle here. I think the panel I'm going to make out of the MDF from the drawer. I cut that all apart. I got these pieces. So I'll get a middle panel of MDF here. Got another piece here. There's one last scrap here. I'm going to actually be using plywood, which is another thing we probably shouldn't be using, but for the purposes of this experiment, this is what we're going to do. Alright, now I don't have any more solid wood from this. Alright, I have lots of scraps of poplar, and I can just fill stuff in, but that wasn't the challenge here. I'm just trying to use up as many scraps as possible. So we'll see how it comes out. Alright, so we're going to work on this. Alright, so just kind of dry fitting my pieces here for my drawer fronts. Just doing a frame panel, shaker style, basic. Alright, just did mostly dominoes. I've got some other parts that already had pocket holes on them, so there's a little mixture here. And what I was able to do, also check and just dry fit my pieces in there, so I know that I got a nice fit. Alright, so all I gotta do now, glue these guys up, and then work on the middle panel. So I messed up on this one cabinet face. I went too deep with the router back, so I'm going to try this out. I'm gluing a small piece right onto it, kind of just laminating, sandwiching it on there. Then we'll try again. Let's see how that works out. Alright, so we got the drawer fronts for the cabinet. Alright, I was able to routed this out. You see this recess or rebate or rabbit in the back, whatever you want to call it. Alright, routed that out with the router. Put a couple of coats of the black poly on it. This is just a piece of MDF that we got from the drawer. Reuse that, put some black poly on it, but I got some blue tape here on the edges. Okay, I'm going to pull that off because I'm just going to glue this in over here. I want to have some raw edges, raw to raw edges for the glue to hold the best. You know, it's not going to hold real well if everything is black poly. It's not going to hold, you know, permanently. So I'm going to take the blue tape off here, and just put some glue in, we'll clamp it together, and then we're going to be all set to go. Alright. Okay, so my drawer doors, the glue's all dry. This is what it looks like. I'm playing around with some kind of homemade drawer pull. I don't like any of the regular hardware stuff, so I just took some of the scrap MDF that we're working with, and I just wanted to play around with this. Kind of like it, right? Just got to pull it, all right? Adding it to the door. The way I did that was just did 3 dominoes. I cut the piece of MDF. Just gonna glue it in, okay? But I want to put some finish on here first, and then glue it once it's all finished. It'll be a lot easier. But that's going to be my drawer pulls for our shop drawers here. Alright, so I want to work on this area right here. Just going to do 2 smaller drawers with the space I have left. Just built a box to fill in that space, kind of self-contained. It's just a lot easier to mount it in there later when I'm all done, so I can build my drawers in this box. And then just mount it into the cabinet, just pocket holes, scrap wood, scrap plywood again. Alright, so I'm doing a little different method here. We're going to do no hardware. Alright, normally kind of do something with dados. Just trying something different here to use up the scraps I have. I'm going to use these strips of wood in here, or actually strips of MDF. Going to put these in. And then these strips of poplar are going to be attached to the drawer, so they're going to slide right in that channel there. I'm going to have this piece here. That'll be one drawer. We'll slide right in that groove. I'll have my next drawer. We'll attach that to there, and then put that last one there. There's a little bit of a gap, a little bit of play, so it goes in smoothly. But that's going to be how the drawers slide in and out. Kind of making artificial dados here, just using these layers of wood and just spacing them out. So all I got to do is just going to glue these in, shoot a couple nails to keep it in place. Nothing too fancy. Maybe I'll put a screw in there just to keep it strong. That's what I'm going to do next. Alright, so I got a piece of MDF here from the original cabinet, bottom of the drawer. I'm going to clean it up, cut it into strips to use for the drawer that I'm going to make. And I just want to clean it up so it'll be easier to cut. Alright, so I finished my box here. You can see, you got the box all made up here. You've got what the rails are going to slide in. Alright, I got 2 spaces. I'm going to make 2 drawers here. Alright, small drawers, nothing too big, too fancy. Alright, I got my pieces laid out here. Alright, just got the MDF from the original cabinet. Alright, 1/2-inch MDF. You can see here, just did a kerf cut on my table saw. Did 2 passes to make a dado, if you want to call it that, or a kerf cut. Alright, that's going to accept my bottom panel here for the drawer. Alright, we're going to put that in. Alright, and I'm just going to glue it, and actually I'm going to nail it. I think it's the easiest thing. Like I said, it's a light duty drawer. It's not going to have a lot of weight in it. Mostly just some pencils, rulers, things like that. Alright, so we got our little box here for our drawers. We got 2 drawers. They're going to go in here. Alright, I'm going to put a 1/4-inch spacer at the bottom. I want a little bit of a gap at the bottom here. The drawer's going to sit on top of it. Alright, and then these are going to be the rails that the drawers are going to get attached. Okay, I'm not going to go in any hardware, just doing this old school method here. I'm going to put these in here. That's where it's going to sit. Take a good sharp pencil. Alright, and I'm going to mark where that rail is. And this piece of wood is here in the front, where it's sitting. I'm also going to do the same thing in the back. Those rails will be lined up. And we've got a good reference point. Alright, I'm just going to glue them on, and I think once the glue dries, I'm going to put a couple screws in there just for safekeeping. Alright, but that's the first drawer. Alright, so the little drawer box here is installed. I got it all done. You can see in there, it's got it screwed to the top. Okay, you see these little pieces, they're just little pieces of aluminum here. Little pieces of metal that I cut. Screwed it in. That's going to keep the drawers from completely falling out. I got one up top, one on the bottom. Okay, and since the drawers are just sliding in there, if you pull it out, it would completely fall out. So those will just stop it, and if I ever need to get the drawer out, I can just stick like a straight screwdriver in there, push it down, and the drawer will pop right out. Show you how that works. Alright, so we got our drawer here. Goes right in. Slide it in. There's our drawer. Alright, pull all the way out. Piece of metal catches. It stays right there. It doesn't come out. Alright. Top one in. Same deal. Alright, pull it all the way out. A piece of metal catches in the back. Alright. There's our drawers. Now we just got to work on some kind of face frame. Face of the doors. Alright, everything's coming together pretty close to being done. It's my idea for the drawer faces or the drawer pulls for the small cabinet part here. Okay, what I did was, again, took scraps from the old cabinet, routed a dado in here, about 3/8 deep or so. I made these little pulls at a 1/2 inch MDF. And they fit right in there really tight, actually. I'm going to glue them, clamp them, and I'm going to cut them flush right here. I think it should look pretty cool when we're done. That's going to be my idea, so I figured that part out here. We'll see how that's going to work out. Alright, so we installed our drawer fronts here. Alright, inside cabinet doors. Alright, I want to show the process. I didn't film these guys, totally forgot to hit the record button while I was doing it. So I'll show you the method when I'm doing these two drawers right here. It's the same method, a little smaller scale, but it's basically the same theory here. Alright, this is just my method. There's a couple different methods, but I'm just going to show you what I like to do. Alright, so I'll just adjust this here. Alright, we're going to start with this bottom one right here. Alright, I'm going to take a shim, just a small piece of wood. That's going to give me my gap here at the bottom. Alright, I'm just going to blue tape that in. And give me my gap. And what I like to do here is I do double-sided tape. This is Fast Cap, Ultra Bond, Speed Tape. Nice thin, real thin, double-sided tape. Really strong, really good stuff. Use it for a lot of different things. I'm going to put some on here. And what this is going to do, this is going to hold the drawer front in place, so then I can actually put some screws in. So I'll put it right there. I'll put it in a couple places. If you have a high got that. Got my drawer front. And put it in. Add this guy in. And push real hard. In a couple seconds. Wiggle it. Try to get that in there. And you hope it binds. Yep. It binds up. And then you can get a clamp on there. And then you can get your screws in. Alright, so I got my drawer clamped, my drawer face clamped to the drawer here, okay? The double-sided tape's holding it in place. Alright, so I want to pre-drill. I want to put my screws through. A couple things to pay attention to. Length of the screw. Alright, this is 1.25 inches. This is 1.25 inch screw. It's a little too close for comfort for me, so I put this washer in, and I make sure I don't blast right through the face front, because that would not be fun. Alright, and just take your time when you're doing it. I'm going to pre-drill. So if you see on our drawer here, I installed this little clip, just a piece of aluminum, Alright, that's going to keep the drawer from falling out if I pull it out too far. Alright, so when I slide it in, it clicks in place, and then my drawer goes right in like that. Alright, so that's what we got. We got our drawers in place. Inset drawer, that's how I do mine. Alright, so here we are, my table saw. And we got our cabinet in its final resting place here. I got some wheels on it. It's all done. If you guys want to check out, I have a different video about the table saw blade organizer here. This is all on one video by itself. I got my table saw blades all in here. Alright, got them all done. That has its own video on YouTube. Check that one out. If I figure out how to put links in these videos, I'll do it. Alright, we got our other drawers here. This one's empty. This one I'm putting my inserts in. Got my inserts in this drawer. Alright, this drawer here, I do all my router accessories, router bits, because I got my router tables right here. Alright, so all my router bits right here. Alright, so hope you guys enjoyed the videos. Alright, this is a great little upgrade for me. Nice little project while we're all locked down. Alright, sure it's going to go to good use. Alright, everybody take care, stay safe. Check out for more videos.